My name is Kader. I'm a corporate leader in the IT industry. I live in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm also a council member with the Fairfax County Council to End Domestic Violence, and I'm a mother of two wonderful children. I was completely unaware of what abuse meant while I was married. He became very controlling. He isolated me quite a bit. Every time I tried to go see my family, there was always financial issues that prevented me from traveling. There was a huge amount of financial secrecy, the isolation, the blaming, the constant blaming, everything that was happening was always my fault, and I was blamed for it. And the controlling behavior, the controlling of the finances. I had no insights of what was happening in our financial life. As an immigrant dealing with domestic violence, while I was married, at times my husband would take my immigration paperwork, my citizenship paperwork, my identification paperwork, and disappear with the paperwork. My ex-husband was constantly threatening to kidnap my children. I was only surrounded by my spouse's friends, and they invalidated my experience quite a bit when I would tell them what I was dealing with. Rather than saying that is not okay, they've actually contributed to the gaslighting by saying, oh, really, I can't believe that would be the case. I don't see him to be that person. It could have ended very differently for me. When I was sitting in court, waiting for a protective order, the court employees had called DSVS and the police. The court employees thought it would be helpful for me to have an advocate who could assist me with the court process. And I was confused, I was traumatized, I was dealing with a very difficult situation. The night before, I was brutally assaulted, and I was dealing with a very traumatic state. I had injuries. She connected me with a lot of resources for mental health treatment and for services within DSVS that could help me overcome my trauma. I've used DVAC, the advocacy service. I have also participated in support groups and mental health counseling sessions, as well as the supervised visitation program that DSVS offers. My DSVS advocate actually held my hand and let me lean on her shoulders while I was going from court hearing to court hearing. She sat in front of me in court to block the perpetrator from staring me down while in court hearings. At a time when I was completely on my own with my support system outside the US, that was more than anything I could have asked for. She was such a warm and compassionate individual. She had a lot of empathy and a very good understanding of what I was dealing with. So right from the beginning on, we bonded and created a friendship. And she was there all along, even several years later now. If I ever need someone that I need to kind of reflect on what happened, she's still there. Even though I'm not using the DSVS services, she's still there. She reflects with me. She helps me make sense of what I was dealing with. She's helped me find solutions that worked for me and individually as a woman and as a parent of two precious children that I was also trying to protect in that time. The best thing about working with the advocates at DSVS was that they understood what I was dealing with. They embraced me as a human being and honored my dignity. They didn't blame me for what was happening in my life. And that already made me feel so much more valued as a human being in my core. My whole power had been taken away by another individual. So feeling empowered, not feeling judged, having someone there to support me and listen to me and embrace me as a human being was very helpful. But I've also learned to embrace an identity of being a survivor. What it means to be a survivor to me is that I am able to thrive and heal from an experience that I did not really plan to have in life. What it means to be a survivor is to say, I am not what society says I should be, such as the battered wife who's a burden on the society, who's not able to take care of herself, who's not able to provide for her children. There are many survivors that I encounter throughout this journey that are quite the opposite of what all the stereotypes about victims of domestic violence say. Survivors are strong, they're courageous. So it's been 5 years since I've gotten out of my abusive relationship, and I have found strength in myself that I did not think was there before. I have learned to believe in myself. I've learned self-compassion and self-forgiveness while I was processing the experience of 12 years of being in an abusive relationship and what that actually meant for me, that it was not something that defined me as who I am in my core as a human being. And being a survivor to me means that I'm able to move beyond that experience, that I'm able to start turning the next page to a life that is much more wonderful and peaceful, with less drama and chaos, and with much more love and care for myself and for my children. Since I've left my abusive relationship, I have improved our life by so much. I have been able to be a positive role model for my children. I have been able to teach my children that it's not okay to stay in an abusive relationship, that it's not okay to have someone around you who mistreats you and who disrespects you and who does not honor your dignity. Real love does not hurt.